Raptors Rewind. Happy New Year's, everyone. We are happy to start 2018 on the right foot. I'm here with Matty Mac. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, what's going on, Tyler?
Not much. I'm just shooting an episode of Raptors Rewind. How about you?
And I'm in it too. Awesome.
Cool. Jazz is here as well.
Awesome. Happy New Year's to everybody. And let's get this thing going.
The Raptors have started off not too shabby, going 3-0. Obviously, we got to address the big 52 game from Demar DeRozan. I don't know what his New Year's resolution is. Most of us make New Year's resolutions and we break it by the end of the first day. But Demar DeRozan, if his resolution was to get a hell of a lot better, he made that come true. Matt, do you want to touch on that performance by Demar?
Well, absolutely stellar performance by Demar. I mean, we were shocked to see him get 52. We weren't sure if he was going to get there. There were some, oh my God, give him the ball, he's going to get fouled kind of moments. But hey, he made it to the free throw line. He came through. He shot 6 and made 6 threes that game. I mean, it was just lights out. And we were down by 4 with a minute and a half to go. It was one of those games where he needed a block from Ibaka. And, end of the stretch, it was a lot of a team performance effort. But Demar's going to take credit for it. He had 52 points. 8 assists, 6 rebounds, all around fantastic game by Demar, and you just want to see it every night.
So last time we were all together, we were talking about Vince Carter and one of the arguably the all-time Raptors great, and that the 50-game performance he had in the playoffs. But how do you think this 52 points performance by Demar ranks him? How it affects his Raptors legacy?
You know what I compare this sort of comparison to is sort of the Michael Jordan-LeBron debate. Before, in years past, it was sort of taboo to compare the two players, but now people are starting to really lean towards LeBron James just because of what he's been able to do. I think DeMar and Vince are sort of in that same echelon. People were reluctant to sort of give DeMar the keys to the franchise or say he's atop the list of most notable Raptors players. But I think, taking the team to the Eastern Conference Finals and scoring 52 points, obviously, outclassing Terrence Ross and Vince in the scoring department. Obviously, Vince's performance was magical because it wasn't the playoffs, and he did go crazy from beyond the arc. But DeMar's just been consistent. Every year he's improved, and it's a boring cliche, but this guy's really worked his ass off to get where he is now, and it's showing. It's tough because Vince did so much for the franchise and the city and the organization. So if you're looking strictly from a statistical basketball impact on the court, I'm going to go with DeMar DeRozan. But if you're talking about like an influential, somebody who's had a real impact on the country and the growth of basketball, then you got to go with Vince.
Okay, fair enough. So I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a Christmas Day broadcast, and Raptors Nation's favorite NBA player, Paul Pierce, sounded off on how the Raptors are doing this season. Raptors are on pace to have their best regular season so far, and pretty much.
We did some numbers.
Yeah.
You want to break that down for the fans?
We apparently don't know how fractions work, but they're on pace to break the 56 mark they set a couple seasons ago. But so Paul Pierce pretty much comes out and says, I don't know about this team. We've seen it before. They get bounced to the first round of the playoffs. Pierce being the ultimate Raptors troll, getting one last shot in as a retired player. Jazz, what do you think about this team? Are they for real, or is this the same old story like Pierce has suggested?
Well, first of all, Pierce, as much as Raptors fans hate him, he's got a point. I mean, in terms of the Raptors being real, I really do think they are, just because I feel like they made such an emphasis on changing the style of play, and they're shooting more threes, and DeRozan's a completely different player. He's averaging 5 assists a game. I think he's leading the team in win shares as well, which you haven't seen, I think, since his time being here. It's been like Lowry and Valanciunas. I think it's tough to say because in the playoff, that's the ultimate dictator, and the judgment call comes from that sort of time of the NBA season. So I think the Raptors have a real chance to take out the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think they will. I think it'll be the Cavs and the Warriors once again. But I think a couple seasons ago, we took them to the Eastern Conference Finals and took them to 6 games. Mm-hmm. I see a similar series, but not so lopsided, because the point differential in that series was like ridiculous. And people looked at the Raptors 2 games that they won against Cleveland as a sort of Cleveland not really trying and putting all their effort. So I think this year that they have a real chance to separate themselves. And I kind of want to see a Boston-Toronto series first, man. But once we get that out of the way and the Raptors win that series inevitably, it doesn't really matter what happens with Cleveland. Cleveland's a juggernaut with LeBron, any which way you put it. So,
Okay, so we talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Toronto's got a 6-game stretch coming up, starting on January 11th, where they'll face LeBron and the Cavs. The 6-game stretch, they'll play San Antonio, Cleveland, the Golden State Warriors, and then a couple good teams in Minnesota Timberwolves, Detroit Pistons, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah. So, Matt, I just want to put that to you. That's a pretty tough stretch. The Raptors have been doing great this year, but it's been a pretty soft schedule in terms of opponents so far. How important do you think that 6-game stretch is establishing themselves that they are one of the top teams in this league?
Well, I think you see the Raptors right now, they're defined as a great team. If they want to be defined as an elite team, they're going to have to, face these teams and beat them. But this is our second chance, when you're reflecting and trying to find out ways to sort of coach and strategize, hey, how are you going to handle these teams? You got to find answers. You got to find answers on defensive end. You got to have guys like Ibaka and your solid centers coming in, stopping the ball. But you also got to have your guard play, solid guard play, really good ball movement, your rebounds, your steals, your transitions, and make sure things are solid. There's a lot of stellar performances out there, especially from Steph Curry, likes of LeBron James. You just got to watch out for those guys, man, and match their level of play.
Absolutely. The Raptors, I believe they haven't beat Golden State since Steph's first All-Star season. So they got close earlier this season. It was a bit of a last-minute blow-up. But
Golden State always finds a way to just close games. I don't know if you watched the Dallas game just the other day with Steph Curry dropping 45, I believe, 8 threes. He just hit a game-winning 3 at the top of the horn, and nobody was there to. It's just Golden State, man. It's tough for any team to sort of compete with that franchise, right? So many weapons. It's like a 5-pronged team every single time.
Yeah, so we'll see if Toronto can step it up to that point. I think that's going to be a wrap for episode number 5 of the Raptors Rewind. Happy New Year's to everyone out there. Want to thank Matty Mac and the Jazzman.
Feliz Navidad.
Indeed. So we'll see you all next time. I hope you enjoyed our new sets. If you like what you see, give it a subscribe, give it a like, give it a twinkle, and we'll see you next time.
Twinkle, baby.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Raptors Rewind. If you liked what you saw, please like our videos and subscribe to Raptors Rewind on YouTube, Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Tune in next week for another edition of Raptors Rewind.